What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to TRU Raider Podcast. I'm your host, TRU Raider, and we have had a bye week. There's been a lot of quietness in Raider Nation. There's a lot of things that happened. Um, Definitely RIP to Mrs. Davis. That is definitely something that I need to definitely mention right away. There's a lot of things on my mind. I'm a little bit scattered, man. I'm off my game, and it's all good, right? Because we had the bye week, and everybody was saying, "Oh, well, we didn't lose. We can't lose." Well, guess what? Everybody in our division won, which means that we lost. Straight up, we're behind one more game on everybody. So yeah, I take that as an L, right? But we got a whole lot of different moves that are being made right now that are really, really kind of interesting. The trade deadline's coming up, and we went out there and we got wide receiver Tyler Lockett. Now, Tyler Lockett coming in is an interesting one for me because this was something that we expected this to happen earlier than what it did, right? I really, really thought this would happen earlier. Let me see real quick. Yeah, never mind. I was going to pull up something, but I couldn't find the article I read earlier. So Tyler Lockett coming into the building is really a weird move for us because we have young wide receivers in the building, right? We drafted Jack Besh in the second round. And he's had very, very limited reps, definitely limited targets. And then we have Dante Thornton Jr., who we drafted in the fourth round. And even though he's had more reps and more targets, he's, struggling with 50-50 balls. He's really not running the crisp routes that that he was claiming that he was going to be able to run. Because everybody said he doesn't run good routes and da-da-da-da. And when it came down to is that, yeah, he's not running great routes, right? And it is what it is. And so, I think that might be more part of it than anything. But another key factor in this is Jacobe Meyers has been asking for a trade, and he made it very, very clear before the bye week that yes, he still wants to be traded. And so there's some question on what's going to happen from this move, right? Because we ended up with Tyler Lockett. Does that mean that we're moving on from Jacobe Meyers for sure now, and we're just waiting for the trade to go through? Honestly, I thought that we are going to trade him off right after the Kansas City game. It didn't happen. We went through the bye week, and then we signed Tyler Lockett, right, Monday. And so it's like, okay, Tyler Lockett's coming in. Maybe what's happening is we're going to go ahead and trade off Jacobe Meyers now. Well, now we're at the end of the day, Tuesday. Jacobe Meyers still hasn't been traded, right? So I don't really know. And I did see an article earlier that was saying that basically the word out there is that the Raiders are trying to seek a day 2 pick for Jacobe Meyers, which means either a second or a third. Getting a second round pick from him is very, very unlikely. In fact, even getting a third for him, I think a team like Pittsburgh that, watching them on Sunday, man, I think that if Pittsburgh would have had another wide receiver out there like a Jacobe Meyers, that game would have looked a whole lot different for them. Jeremy, yeah, we're probably moving on from him for real. But, if teams aren't really giving a good offer, then I don't really know that we're going to move on from him, right? Because if teams are saying, no, we'll give you a fourth round because he already said he wants to be traded. The problem is that if he signs with another team in the offseason for free agency, we end up with a fourth round comp pick. But the flip side to that is that if he signs with another team and then we pick up a free agent that's, pretty comparable, at least in the eyes of the NFL, we kind of forfeit that comp pick, right? And so it could be that we let him walk, for nothing. V. Rosell, are you a fan of the Oakland Raiders or the Vegas ones? Both, right? I've been a Raider fan since 2001. I was 14 years old. They're in Vegas now, right? So I'm just a fan of the Raiders, Jeremy. Yep, exactly. So, I mean, Do I think that Jacobe Meyers will still play for us as long as he's on the roster? Yes. Jacobe Meyers is not the type of guy that's going to go out there and just kind of, half-ass it and, throw his team under the bus. He said that there's some people that are very important to him on that team and that he's showing up to the best of his ability for them. And I love that. That's really, really good, man. Pickle butt. Hopefully we have a good game versus the Jags. Brock is back, Lonnie's debut, and Lockett. And Lonnie's debut is still up in the air. Pete Carroll did say today that, Brock Bowers is expected to be back. Part of Brock Bowers being back is that before the bye, he was practicing in full. He had 2 full practices, so Brock Bowers should be back. And I think that we're going to really get to see what's going on with this offense because week 1 versus the Patriots, and the Patriots are a team that's doing pretty damn good right now, right? And our offense absolutely balled out against them. And so for us to have that really good opening game and then just all of a sudden fall off the map, Brock Bowers, we've only had a healthy Brock Bowers for about 3 quarters, right? All season. Because even though he played a couple games after the Patriots game, he was not at full health, and it was very, very obvious. Very, very obvious. Pickle, Jags are a pretty good test to determine if we still really have a chance. And I think that we're going to see what's going to happen coming out of the bye week, right? What kind of coaching adjustments have been made, right? Because I think Chip Kelly, his play calls have not been great, but also if you watch the tape, there's a lot of open receivers that Geno Smith is not being able to get the ball to, partly because, well, for one, right now they're not trusting him, they're not turning the ball over. But another piece of this is that the offensive line is not really holding long enough, and he can't trust them well enough in order to be able to take the time to let those routes develop, right? Because by the time those routes develop and those guys are open, Geno Smith is already getting hit or scrambling and trying to make something happen. But Brock Bowers being back in this offense, I think that we really get to see, are we going to have the kind of offense that we had in week 1 versus the Patriots? Or is it that Chip Kelly's offense is just kind of too simple? Geno Smith is too easy to beat, and they're just going to go ahead and continue doing what they've been doing to us, right? Pickle said, what about Pete? What do you think of Pete so far? I think Pete is a typical person in their 70s, and I apologize to anybody that may be in the chat in their 70s, but everybody I know in their 70s is very, very stuck in their ways. It's very difficult to tell somebody that's in their 70s, what you're doing is not working, what you're doing is wrong, we need to change it. Pete Carroll is very, very stuck on Geno Smith. He's already said some bad things about the play calling, which tells me that either John Spytek or Tom Brady are the ones that are really behind the Chip Kelly hire, and that maybe Pete Carroll's not fully bought into that, right? Because, the way that, you got to be able to hold that locker room, right? And Pete, it could be that the NFL has passed him by. It definitely could be. And also another thing, man, is that okay, Pete came into this Raiders team, which, let's face it, our roster was already really struggling, right? We won 4 games last year, and the morale is down, and the culture's all messed up. Pickle with the follow, salute. And then, and then we have all new pieces, right? We have a new running back. We have a new head coach. We have a new GM. We have a new offensive coordinator. We have a new quarterback. We have some rookie wide receivers out there. There's a whole lot of pieces that they're just really not, they don't know how to play together properly yet, right? Which is, come on, man. We need these guys to, we're already going into week 9, right? They got to figure it out by now because it's already been a while. But I get it, right? It's not going to look great at first. But I really wonder, right? Because that Patriots game, did the Patriots really play that bad, or did we play that good? It was obvious that the Patriots went out there really trying to stop Ashton Genty. They did not want Ashton Genty to have a huge breakout game in his rookie debut. And so they stacked the box in a way that Geno Smith was able to beat them with the deep ball. Now, since then, that has not been the case at all. But we also haven't had Brock Bowers. And the speculation that I keep hearing is Brock Bowers that much of a part of our offense that it completely fell apart without him? Pickle, really, I've been looking at some of the QBs, and the QB that I actually like the most in college, and that's kind of derailing us a little bit, but the college QB that I personally like the most right now is Julian Sand. And I haven't watched enough tape to really make an evaluation, right? And Julian Sand, he's not coming out this year. So, it's for nothing, right? But I do like him. Let's see. F and 40, how often is O-line terrible? Yeah, like when our offensive line is playing terrible, and that's a big thing, right? That we keep going back to. Jordan Meredith is not playing good at center. We had a pretty damn good offensive line at the end of last year. And then Pete Carroll came in, Chip Kelly came in, and Brandon Carroll came in, and they said, nah, we're going to scramble these guys all up, and we know better, right? It's like all messed up. Pickle, salute to you. Good to see you. Glad you made it. Billy Davis in the building, one of the model Raiders. What's good, man? Good to see you, brother. So another thing I want to talk about is Lonnie Johnson Jr., right? Lonnie Johnson Jr., Pete Carroll said today he's speculating that he's already practicing and he might make his debut against the Jags. He might not make it in until the game against the Broncos. And part of what we've been having is that our secondary is really, really suffering. And our secondary was supposed to have Lonnie Johnson Jr. And so I'm really, really wondering if some of the packages that we had designed for Lonnie Johnson Jr., because there was a whole lot of good reports coming out of training camp, is that, maybe not having Lonnie Johnson Jr. out there is significantly impacting the secondary, because Pete Carroll was talking so good about this secondary during training camp in the offseason. He was just like all pumped about it. And then we got out there on the field and it's like, was he just like trying to hype us up? Is he too old to recognize? Is Geno Smith so bad that Pete Carroll can't recognize that our secondary sucks? So he's out there like, man, this secondary is amazing, and not realizing it's that Geno Smith sucks. And so our secondary during training camp was just having their way with him, right? Here's Johnny, trade for Sanders. So at this point, I would welcome a Shedeur Sanders. And I wanted Shedeur Sanders originally, right? And then he fell in the draft and then hasn't even started for the Browns. And it really makes me think that there's bigger issues with him than any of us ever really knew about, right? Because, yeah, like the speculation would be like, oh, well, he's not going to be a first-day pick. Well, it was a lot bigger than that. Dropping to the 5th round is like disgusting, but I agree with you. Here's Johnny. I think that Chip Kelly is a huge part of the problem, but so is our offensive line. So is Geno Smith. And not having Brock Bowers out there, like when you don't have Brock Bowers out there, the rest of our receivers are not that good. They're just really not that good. With Brock Bowers out there, well, then you got Trey Tucker, Lonnie Johnson Jr., a big deep ball threat. When they're paying attention to Brock Bowers, Jacobe Meyers has an easier time getting targets, getting receptions. And so by being able to bring in Brock Bowers, from being injured, and then we added Tyler Lockett, let's see if the Raiders are locked in, right? Because I believe that the Raiders are locked in if we're going out there and we're going ahead and signing players like Tyler Lockett, right? That means Pete Carroll is like, I really want to continue to win games, and so I need to make things easier for Geno Smith, right? Because Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett already played together on the Seahawks, right? That nag with the follow salute. Let's see. Here's Johnny. I feel we should let our young wide receivers grow, learn at this time they need experience. And I feel the same way about Charles Grant and Caleb Rogers on the offensive line. We have a second-round pick that has extremely limited targets in Jack Besh. We have 3 third-round picks, one of which is Darian Porter has only, he's not getting that many reps. And Pete Carroll saying things like, oh, well, we try to find ways to get him, some play and this and that. And it's like, what are we talking about here? Kai Blue Kelly is like the worst rated cornerback out there. So, like, what are we doing? And then we bring in Stone Forsythe when Colton Miller goes down with the injury to come in and play left tackle. It's like, why are we doing that? Why don't we have Charles Grant out there? Give him the damn reps. I get it. Maybe they've seen something in practice that they're like, these guys are just not ready at all. But for us that aren't there for practice, we don't know that. So it's very easy for us to look at it and be like, well, damn, like, why don't they play him so I could see him? And maybe they should, right? Even if they get beat, just to shut everybody up. People like me. Yeah, here's Johnny. I also agree that I feel like they're playing favorites. There's a whole lot of favoritism. The whole Jackson Powers Johnson thing's all messed up. And so there's a whole lot of bullshit going on. A whole lot of bullshit, right? Because Jackson Powers Johnson seems to be the only guy that's had to compete for a job. Because everybody else that they're saying is competing, they're not really competing. Darian Porter, he did get some kind of opportunity, it sounded like, in the offseason. And they said Caillou Blue Kelly won the job. Okay. But now that he's playing horrible, why is he not having to defend his job? You know what I'm saying? Puffy Smalls, what's up? My question is, if they're not ready, why was JPJ so good last year? Well, and that's the thing that gets me, right? And JPJ was projected to be a first-round pick. He ended up falling to the second round because of concussion concerns, right? And so we were able to pick him up in the second round. And he didn't play right away. He was dealing with some injury stuff, I think. But Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, there's like no mention of them, like at all. Like anytime that they get brought up, like Pete just talks like, oh, like, like they're not there. They're not ready, and it's like, give us more than that, And yeah, like JPJ did play great last year, Puffy. He did at center. And when he was at right guard, our offensive line really, really struggled, and he didn't look great. But then when they, Andre James came out with an injury, they put JPJ at center, and then all of a sudden our offensive line just started clicking. It's like, that's no mystery to me. Like, why are we not doing this? Right? It's crazy. And Tyler Lockett's a guy that's supposed to come in and give Geno Smith a security blanket, right? He's a guy that he already like he's familiar with, right? They're already comfortable together. They play well together. And I think that that's what Pete Carroll is doing. I think he's like, we need to bring in Geno a target that he can be consistent with. That way he looks a little bit better, right? Because if Geno looks better, Pete Carroll looks better, right? Glenny, I guess you haven't been following anything. Max Crosby came out and said that he does not want to go anywhere. So to say Max Crosby wants out, he has his opportunity right now to say, yeah, the rumors are true. I want to get out of here. And guess what? We would probably move him to Dallas Cowboys for 2 first-round picks this year and maybe sprinkle some other trade compensation in there, which was kind of appealing, but, Jerry says, we aren't locked in if you signing washed up players like Lockett. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is that the only reason to bring in Lockett is, for one, they know that they're going to move on from Jacobe Meyers before the trade deadline. For 2, to give a target to Geno Smith that you believe that he can be successful with. But I think that Pete Carroll still wants to win games. I really think that Pete Carroll still wants to win games. I think that he's convinced with the return of Brock Bowers, with the return of Lonnie Johnson Jr., that now that we start getting a little bit healthier, that we're going to go out there and actually win some games. And I get it, right? Like tanking and getting a high draft pick, that sounds great, right? But that's not always the best thing. That is not always the best thing. Last year, everybody was saying tank, 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 tank for Shedeur Sanders, right? And then Shedeur Sanders went in the 5th round, and Cam Ward sucks. So it's like, what are we tanking for? If we look at the quarterbacks in this draft so far, and I get it, right? The season's still early. We're going to see a lot more out of these college quarterbacks, but I have not been impressed. The only quarterback that I like so far is Julian Sayin. And I don't think that there's any way Julian Sayin comes out in the draft this year. Mendoza looks decent. Do I think he looks great? No. I'm Sellers. I'm not really impressed with Sellers. I'm not really impressed with any of them. Do they look like promising prospects? Yes. Do any of them look like shit, man? Like I was pretty sold on CJ Stroud while he was in college. I knew Jaden Daniels was going to be a good quarterback. Bo Nix surprised the hell out of me. I didn't think Bo Nix was going to be good at all. Out of that draft class, he's got the most touchdowns, and it's not even close. Aaron Jones or RJ Harvey, I don't care about either of them. They're not Raiders. Mostly looking at Williams out of Washington. I haven't checked him out. I'm going to go check him out. Williams out of Washington. Cam Scatterbo broke his ankle. That was actually pretty sad to see. And like throughout like the speculation of the draft, there was one point where I was pretty fixed on that we should get Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. But I thought Jackson Dart was going to fall to the 2nd. So I was like thinking like, we pick up either Ashton Genty or an offensive lineman in the 1st round, and then Jackson Dart in the 2nd, and then even pick up Cam Scatterbo in the 3rd, right? Like let's get 2 running backs. Screw it, right? Like we need a run game. And those are some of the conversations I've been having, and they had this like little hype that happened over there with the Giants, but then he broke his ankle, and that's it, man. Malik Neighbors is out. They were one of the teams that they were talking about Jacobe Meyers. Like they might want to trade for Jacobe Meyers, but at this point, they might just call it a wrap, man. I don't know. They're like 2-6. I don't think that they're really fighting for much. Ricardo, yeah, it wouldn't matter with either that horrible O-line. They wouldn't get anything done. I mean, and that's like one of the things that I'm surprised that we didn't do, because we went and got Jack Bech in the 2nd round, right? Like, I think that was a horrible move because you get Jack Bech in the 2nd round. He's not that good. He's not getting targets. Like, he wasn't even getting much playing time at first. Why would we not get an offensive lineman in the 2nd round? I don't care if it's a tackle, if it's a guard. If you bring in a tackle, you move DJ Glaze over to guard. Like, come on. Like, let's – what are we doing here? I get it. We needed a wide receiver, but was he the guy? Because they traded back, and there was better wide receivers on the board when they traded back. So then they traded back, and they're thinking, okay, we're going to go ahead and trade back for this guy that – he was hyped up because he had a good Senior Bowl, right? Right, Ricardo? And then so they're like, well, let's trade back, pick up some more draft capital, and then we'll pick up Jack Bech, and then we'll get some offensive linemen in the 3rd round. And so they got back-to-back offensive linemen in the 3rd round. And then they haven't played them at all. Like, at all. I actually have a hard time believing that we have the best 5 offensive linemen out there. I do. And so it makes everything a whole lot more difficult. If you watch what happened starting in week 2, the Chargers, they figured us out, and then every other team has just copy and pasted ever since. You drop 7, you rush 4. And that's all it takes to beat the Raiders. That's all it takes. Now, and that's why I'm thinking that having Brock Bowers at tight end, he plays a lot of slot, plays a lot of outside, but Brock Bowers, I think, is that missing target underneath. I really, really do. Because they would rush four. Our offensive line cannot stop four that are rushing. And so then all of a sudden there's pressure on Geno Smith immediately. And then as soon as there's pressure on him, he has nobody to throw to because there are 7 people guarding what? Let's call it 4 receivers. Let's call it 5 receivers. You got 7 defenders back there on them, you know? Like there is not a matchup there. It is not working. They haven't utilized the little dump off plays very well at all. You know, I remember Josh Jacobs used to like hit a little chip block and then he'd run up a little bit. Boom, there's a little check down to him, right? And while watching the, you know, some of the tape on Tyler Lockett on the Titans, because it's like, okay, why was he playing so horrible? Well, that Titans offense sucks, right? But another part of it is that he was mostly being used for checkdowns. So even if he's only that, well, it gives us another little offensive advancement that we didn't have. Lakem, what's up, man? Pete has lost his touch and Gino needs prescription goggles and maybe a sports therapist. No kidding, man. No kidding. Yeah, didn't know. Well, yeah, any team will feel the effect of losing their top 3 tight end. I mean, I think he's the true top in the league tight end. But yeah, we're feeling that for sure. BMR with the follow salute. CNG said, need to get rid of Chip. It's just not working. And I think that they're trying to move away from firing coaches and staff so quickly. Either that or Chip Kelly has some kind of weird protection that we don't know about. Aaron said, do you think Brock Bowers will be okay this week? He's projected to play. He is projected to play right now. He had full practice before the bye week. He should be in. BMR said, what do you think the biggest changes after bye week? What do you see happening? So I thought that Chip Kelly was honestly going to get fired during the bye week. He didn't. So that kind of pisses me off, right? Because I really thought Chip Kelly's going to get canned. And then we're going to like, you know, maybe he was what was messing up the locker room and everybody's going to come in and be all hyped up, right? That didn't happen, which could be a good thing, right? Salute Lakem. So that could be a good thing that we're not just firing staff, right? So I think one of the big changes is that Brock Bowers being in is going to open up the offense. Because I don't see them changing the offensive line. I think that we're going to have the same mass offensive line that we've had. I think that Tyler Lockett is going to be utilized quite a bit by Geno Smith as that like familiar security guy. Like I said, does Caillou Blue have blackmail on Coach Carroll? He might, dude. I don't know why he's so stuck on him. Yeah, we did pay Kelly too much money. So BMR Bowers in doesn't change online pass protection though. It does, because Brock Bowers is a very good pass blocker. So not having Bowers in there to pass block has definitely affected us. It's definitely affected our pass protection. Doesn't mean that our offensive line doesn't suck, because they do, right? And I honestly think if they just play musical chairs, they put JPJ in at center, they move Jordan Meredith to left guard, and they move Dylan Parham to right guard, we'd see a much better product out there. Another way that Bowers changes our pass protection is he gets separation, and he gets separation quick. And so it's really a very reliable, quick target for Geno Smith to get the ball out fast. And so we're lacking that, right? Because you get rid of Brock Bowers, right? He's injured, he's not full speed, and then he's out. And then, you know, all of a sudden our other receivers become very, very easy to defend, because Michael Mayer, he's a good tight end, but he ain't that good. If he was that good, these trash ass quarterbacks that we've had over the last couple of years would have figured out a way to utilize him, right? That's it is what it is. Trailer Trash Boy, do you think we're upsetting the Jags? I think that there is a possibility that we can upset the Jags, for sure. And especially if Bowers is in. Bowers is good, is very good in many ways. Tyler Lockett, not only is he a deep threat, Andre Way with the follow, salute. Not only is Tyler Lockett a good deep threat, even at 33, he's a very good deep threat that Gino already knows how to throw to, but he's also good in short yardage situations, but he's the kind of receiver that he's going to catch the ball and he's going to fall down. It is what it is. But I think it's going to help. But honestly, the way that we've been playing, I got to tell you guys, I am a very optimistic person who usually can come in here and see the silver lining in a situation and just be like, yeah, like, this is how it's going to work out. And we have not put a product on the field that I can be confident in at all. Like, absolutely at all. I'm Sober said, I like Lockett pickup. It's a good vet that youngsters can learn from. I could see that. But yeah, BMR, he's got no yards after the catch for sure. But I think that one of the main things that we're going to get to see this Sunday is how much of an effect Brock Bowers being out really had. I'm Sober. Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate it. So if Brock Bowers comes back in and then all of a sudden our offense is just clicking again, for one, that's really sad that one player being out would affect us that much, right? But let's say it does, right? Just theoretically, let's say that Brock Bowers being back in, all of a sudden we have our week 1 offense again that we had against the Patriots. All of a sudden we're a team that can actually win some games, right? Do I see us making the playoffs? Probably not, man. Even if we really got it clicking, the rest of our division, they're fucking winning games, and they've been winning games. They're not playing from behind, right? Unless, the Chargers, they usually have their late season slump and they start losing games, and maybe we can sneak in past them, right? But right now, the Broncos are playing lights out. The Chiefs have figured out their shit because they were a mess starting the season, and so I don't think that we're a playoff team, right? And I said that we would be battling for a playoff spot when the season started. And after week 1, I was like, damn confident in that. It's like, I see us winning at least 9 games. And then after week 2, I was like, uh-oh. After week 3, I said, oh, shit. And it's gotten to this point where what I want to see is for our team to just start clicking, right? I want to see us playing good football because it doesn't matter to me so much that we've been losing games. It's the way that we've been losing games. Because the way that we've been losing games, we look childish out there. We look ridiculous. Like, there's probably high school football teams right now that could beat the Raiders. There's definitely college teams that could beat the Raiders. And that's disgusting. There is no reason why you should even be able to say that. So is it Alec M or Alekum? Let me know, man. But I'd like to get paid like Lockett. He got 3.5 mil guaranteed from Titans, then got released in half a season. Yeah, no shit. And I still haven't heard anything about like the deal that we might have given him, but we'll see. Mr. Dobbs says we're getting stomped out. I mean, that's pretty likely. Honestly, the way we've been playing, it's pretty likely. Trailer Trash Boy with the follow, salute. Jerry Lewis, are y'all really talking about Lockett going to help? Please. I mean, Jerry, take a look at Tyler Lockett. Take a look at him. Because, yes, he has 10 receptions for 70 yards this year. He's 33 years old. I get it. I'm not going to try to pretend like, oh, he's this amazing receiver and he's in his prime and all these things. He's not, right? But if you look at him last season, let me share screen on this real quick. And I'm pressing the wrong buttons and shit. Let's pull this up. Tyler Lockett. He's only 5'10", 182 pounds, 33 years old. He was a third-round pick in 2015. So this dude came in the league 600-yard seasons. Boom, boom, boom. Then he had a 965 season. And then he had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. And then 2023, he had 894. 2024, he had 600, right? And then during the offseason, Pete Carroll was trying to get him over here. He had a decision to make. He decided to go over there. Just me with the follow. Salute. He decided to go over there to Tennessee. Well, it didn't work out for him, right? For whatever reason, whether it's lack of proper utilization or whatever it may be, it just wasn't working out for him over there. So is he a guy that's going to come in here and be a true number one superstar and play lights out and all of a sudden we're going to go win the Super Bowl? No. Is he a guy that Geno Smith has rhythm with, knows how to play with? Yes. Is he a guy that can be a threat? Absolutely. But yeah, Jerry, I say he's not gonna fix our season. Is he gonna help? I think so. It's kind of like how Derek Carr had Hunter Renfrow a couple years ago, right? Hunter Renfrow is not a damn receiver that should be getting over 1,000 yards, but he did. Why? Because him and Derek Carr had very good rhythm. Derek Carr knew what to expect from Renfrow, and he knew how to find him open. And that's it. And then he just targeted the shit out of him. Parker, what do you mean Raiders locked in? Locked into the number 1 pick? Unfortunately, we don't even suck that bad. We're not even good at sucking. We're not even good at getting a good draft pick. Because honestly, Raiders are going to draft somewhere between 6 and 11. And that's it. Yeah, just me. We are currently 7. We are currently at pick number 7, and we're probably going to win a couple more games. I would be surprised if we actually went the rest of the season and didn't win a single game. Now, when I look at the schedule, are there games that I'm like, oh, yeah, we got that one, and oh, yeah, we got that? No. I look at that schedule, and I see a bunch of L's. We're going to really get to see what happens Sunday against the Jags, because if this team is actually going to try to win some games, it's going to show up since now. It's going to show like, okay, we got Brock Bowers back and Chip Kelly got slapped around in the back by somebody. I don't know who's even going to slap anybody around. Tom Brady? I don't know. Whatever. He got his shit together, right? And then all of a sudden we're going to go out there and actually look like a real football team, even if we lose. It's like, okay, well, Raiders lost, but they actually looked like a real football team. Then I can be like, okay, I feel pretty good about what's happening. If we go out there and we look like this silly-ass team that played the Commanders, that played the Chiefs, that played the Colts, this team that's like not getting anything done, don't win another game. Fire everybody. Because something is obviously extremely broken if we continue to be that team. Everybody says, oh, I don't want to just fire staff all over again, right? This is the worst that we have looked. Drew Baby with the follow. Salute. This is the worst that we have looked in years. We did not look this bad with Josh McDaniels. And we thought, oh, this is messed up. Andy with the follow. Salute. We thought this is the most messed up shit that's happened. Josh McDaniels, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Jimmy G is garbage. Then we had garbage Minshew. Then we got our fan base saying AOC is our savior. Like, that's how messed up it's been. TBH with the follow. Salute. That's how messed up it's been. There's not a single other team in the NFL besides maybe the Saints that would even be thinking, you know what, maybe Aiden O'Connell is a solution for us. This is worse than the last, 3 years? It's crazy. And I like Aiden O'Connell. I do like Aiden O'Connell. Do I think that he's a guy that could just absolutely make us a playoff caliber team that could take us to a Super Bowl? No. I don't. I don't think that Aiden O'Connell is that. At this point, if Geno Smith can't get his shit together, yeah, we need Aiden O'Connell to come back. Because we need something that's even worth watching. But at that, if Geno Smith can't get his shit together, I'm convinced that it's Chip Kelly, because Geno Smith is not a top 10 quarterback, but he is not a bottom 5 quarterback. He's not. So something's not gelling there. Alex said, Coach Pete has not been deploying players well in their proper positions. And he hasn't. He's even said, we're still learning our players. We're still learning their strengths and their weaknesses. That is the dumbest shit to say. He said that in like week 4 or 5, didn't he? Which is just stupid, man. Absolutely stupid. Us as fans, we know JPJ is our best center. Ferndog with the follow. Salute. Us as fans, we know Paul Amau is not he's not a free safety. He's not a free safety. Us as fans, we know Tyree Wilson plays better on the interior because he has no moves and he's slow. But he has a really good bull rush and he's disruptive if you put him at defensive tackle. 96% of his snaps have been at defensive edge. After all offseason, they're like, oh, we were playing him on the inside and he was doing really good. What happened to that in the regular season? It's a bunch of bullshit, man. Alex said, I think a top 5 pick coming the Raiders' way, unfortunately. No, that would be fortunate. Because I don't think that we're fortunate enough to get in the top 5 in the draft. I don't. I honestly think that we're a team that's going to do some dumb shit and we're going to land ourselves the number 9 pick or something like that. If we're going to do some dumb shit like that, I at least want to see a football team that is playing well. Play well and lose, sure. But if we're going to go out there and just be this garbage-ass team that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, doesn't make proper adjustments, we're just the joke, laughing stock, embarrassment, then we better be getting a top 5 pick, top 3 pick. The worst case scenario for us is to, get a pick somewhere at like pick 11, even though we look like a garbage ass team. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, man, I was actually going to just jump on for 30 minutes. I got a busy week, man. It's been crazy, but I hadn't gotten on with you guys. I enjoyed the weekend with my family. We went and did some stuff and it was good stuff, man. So if you guys do not know, I will be here against the Jaguars doing a watch party, so come check it out. If you have not followed yet, if you have not subbed yet, if you have not liked or hearted, please do that now. You guys have been a good chat tonight, man. I'm going to go spend some time with my kid. Like always, Raider Nation, I love you guys. I'll see you on the next.